Okay, we are welcome everyone. We're on Daf Mem Beis Amid Beis on the top second line. Let me just start here at the story. Today's shir is given Lilu and Ishbas, my um, my mother's father, my grandfather's, Rav Tzvi ben Daniel. Yeah, Leah for Neshama. Amen. Thank you. Okay, so a story for today. This is from Rav Y. Jacobson. Sorry, this is interesting. Y. My wife. When he was a bacher, he must be close to 50 now. He said he's a bacher. They needed someone to run a minyan in Kobe, Japan, I think it's called, and not too many Jews there. He ran the service for the Shani Yom Kippur, the holidays, and the next Shabbos he was going to be spending in Tokyo. We needed a place to stay. He's going to have his, tuna sandwich or whatever, tuna and matzah, probably. And he met a certain Baal Tshuva there who had married a Gioris, a Japanese Gioris, convert. So he says, I don't know, I keep all sorts of things. I keep Kol of Yisrael. I don't eat, I eat Yashan, Pas Yisrael, all the things. He says, no, I know all these things. So come to my house, you'll see. So he invites him to his house. He comes, his kids, have Payas, they're learning Mishnayos. He's quite surprised, he's quite impressed. Had a very enjoyable Shabbos with him, and then they put it off to the side. It's background. Many years later, his father was the author of the Allgemeiner Journal. That's the right name. It was a Yiddish publication in America, a newspaper in Yiddish. Back when there were people who read in Yiddish, maybe they were still probably read different publications. So he asked his son to write for him. He used to write, Rabbi Jacobson, to write for him every week. So one week he was pressed for time and didn't have what to write. So he had taken a diary of that Shabbos he had spent in Japan by was it a Choser B'tshuva and a Gioris and a convert by their house in Japan. He wrote the Yiddish. He just took it off the computer and put it for publication. And that was it that week. And a short while later, he got engaged and he had a Shavuos brachos, Rabbi Jacobson. At the Shavuos brachos, one of the guests had a little bit too much to drink and started making fun of Rabbi Jacobson and his own Shavuos brachos for that article he wrote. He said, "You call that an article?" Spoke to his father. Look at that. What do you do? Pull that out of the computer? It's just a journal. I want something on the parsha. I want something significant. And so he felt bad, and then whatever, he swallowed it and kept on going. A few years later, he was in Los Angeles by a friend of his in New Shabbos, and the friend says, "Rabbi Jacobs, I'm so happy to see you. I've been meaning to tell you the story." He said, "What's the story?" He says, "I recently had over a Baal Tshuva and a Gioris from Japan at my house. They had moved from Japan a few years ago to Los Angeles to be near a frum community." So their family could raise kids in places with yeshivas and schools for their kids. Not really much in Japan, certainly back then. And they told me that they felt very lonely and out of place because in Japan they no one's questioning them. Here they move and people are asking questions, not really very accepting of them at all. And so I said, "Oh yeah, I know it's not so nice." So I said, "So." Says, let me read from you this rabbi in Los Angeles, his minhag was every Shabbos he'd read from the Allgemeine journal, called the Dvar Torah every week, the weekly Dvar Torah, which happened to be written by Rabbi Jacobson. And normally it's Dvar Torah, but this week it was the story all about the Ger and the Tshuva. It was all about their story and how impressed he was by them, how much they made an impression on them. And they gave them chizuk. So, it's a very strange situation. He goes to Japan, stays in Shabbos at some random person's house, comes back he's in a rush to write an article he has to write it, he puts it in. That article is written the week that these people had moved to Los Angeles and needed the chizuk and happened to read it. It's, Hashem is orchestrating the world in a very, very precise way. If we don't see it, understand in the moment, I'm sure when he got embarrassed at Stone Shavuos, he felt like like perhaps why is Hashem doing this to me? But little did he know that what he was doing was saving the whole family and possibly future generations to be from. Anyway, so keep in mind we don't always know what happens, but Hashem is always there doing what's best for us. Okay? That's today's motivational story. Okay, so now we're on Daf Mem Beis on Beis. Today we're going to talk about, we're trying to resolve this issue, understand the case of the cut, how a katan in the Mishnah said, someone could swear to a katan that he owes him money. So we're going to discuss that case. We're in the middle of that. And then we're going to go to that, take over, that's going to take the majority of the page here of the Amud. And then we're going to talk about the Mishnah. The new Mishnah is going to discuss cases where one is not required to swear. When one doesn't require, specific cases when one is not required to take a shua. Okay, so let's.
It's a double-edged sword that cotton can't take a shua, number one, and number two, the cotton can't ask an adult to make a shua.
Exactly. Yeah. So
they're the two cases.
Right. The Mishnah. Yeah. So that's where the question is. So then the Mishnah later seems to say the opposite. It seems to say katan can make someone take a shua. So we're trying to discuss exactly what is when you have a case where someone would be swearing to a katan. Yeah, so that's the first thing we try to say. We try to say that the katan is a relative katan. He's a katan compared to the financial matters of his father. He's still a minor when compared to the financial matters of his father, but we said that can't be. So we're going to try to come up with a new case here. So the problem was we're trying to say the Mishnah was Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and on the previous Amud, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and Elazar ben Yaakov said the case is, Mishnah was going like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, we wanted to say, and the case is where the person admits that he's owed money from the father, and he's going to swear on his own volition to the child, that this, whatever he is for the money, that he owes money to the child. He admitted to half. Your father gave me a mana, 100 zuz, and I admit to 50, that I still owe him 50, so it's partial admittance. He's going to swear. He's the one presenting the case, and he's the one saying that he owes a shul, and he's the one who's going to swear, even though it's for sort of on behalf of the katan, but he's really doing all the actions. That's the case. The problem was the Rabbanan had a problem with that. The problem is that it's like Meshav Aveda, that case. The case is like Meshav Aveda. The case of Meshav Aveda is when a person has a lost item, and he says, I found your 100 shekel. The person says, no, it's really 200 shekel. So in that case, the rabbis don't make a person ever swear when he found a lost item, because otherwise he's not going to come in the first place. Like, why do I need to bring this if the person's just going to trick me, make me swear, and I don't want to swear? So any case that's like that, a Meish Vaveda, like returning a lost item, you don't make a person swear. So this case also, he didn't have to come forward and say that his father admit that he's owed money, that he paid partially, and be the one who's generating the shua. It's kind of like a Meish Vaveda. It's like we shouldn't have to make him swear because he doesn't have to come in the first place. After he's coming in his first place, he's being a nice guy. So he's going beyond the call of duty.
General rule that if you owe 100 and you pay 50, then you have to take a shua.
That's a general, okay.
That's a general rule, isn't it?
Yeah, a general rule, yeah. Here it seems to be an exception. It's like a Meish Vaveda, like it doesn't have to come in the first place. So how do we rectify that? That seems to be a good question that the Rabbanan, the opinion, seems to not fit with Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. So that's what we're up to, and so we're going to come up with a new way of learning it of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and a new way that's explaining the case in a little bit more detail to explain the case where the katan is the one sort of generating, so to speak, the oath. Okay, so the second line from the top, Dama Rabba. I'm sorry. Ella, beginning of the line, second line. Ella but the Rabba, the Mifliki. They're arguing in what Rabba said. The Amar Rabba, like Rabba said, Nema Amra Torah. It's going to tell us a general principle here on Modu Mixa, swearing to when you admit to when you admit partially to what is owed. Nema Amra Torah Modu Mixas Hatani Yishava. How come the Torah says, it's the shua from the Torah, Modu Mixas, when a person admits partially, the guy says you owe 100, he says no, I owe 50. Then he takes an oath. Chazaka, the principle, ein adam meiz panav mipnei bal chava. As a general rule, that a person would not be meiz panav, would be so brazen to deny the entire loan in front of the person who gave him the loan. Whatever the reason, we discussed that a little bit, I think. And really, he wants to sort of just really deny all of it. He wants to be kofar bakol. And the fact that he's not denying it, why is that? The principle we just said. The person wouldn't be so brazen to deny the claim of owed money to the person who's owed money to. Really, so therefore he would want to admit it all. But hide the low odile, and the fact that he didn't admit it, he's kind of trying to wiggle his way out of it, so to speak. Push him off. That's a better word. Push him off a little bit. Savar, he thinks ad habile zuze paranale. When I get the money, I'll kind of push him off, and then when I actually do get the money, I'll pay him back.
He admits it. He just
he doesn't. Yeah, he's in a bind. He doesn't want to. He's not so brazen to deny the whole thing, but he really wants to pay the back, but he doesn't have the money, so he kind of denies it temporarily until he has the money, the funds to actually pay him back. So what does the Torah do in that case? Rahman Amar, Torah says, Rami Shvual Ilve, Kihechi de lo dile bekule. Well, we place a shua upon him, an oath, make him take an oath, in order that he will admit what he's owed. That's the general idea and principle behind the case of motive and mixas. When a person admits partially, and we make him swear to the other half in order that he should pay up. Now we're going to explain the opinions of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov and the Rabbanan. Morning, Bara. Okay, well, let me just highlight this better on the screen for those who will be listening later. Okay. All right. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Savar. What does Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov hold? Lo shana bo, v'lo shana bibno. Doesn't make a difference whether it's him or his son, who the oath is being taken to. Eno meiz. The person is not so brazen to deny the whole oath, deny the whole loan, sorry. Therefore, he's not considered in the category like someone who is returning a lost item. What does that mean? That means that he says, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that whether he would be swearing to the son or whether be swearing to the father, and the case is, remember, the case is where the father is owed money and the son wants to collect, so the person comes along and says, I owe your father 100, but I paid back half and I stole in half. So according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, he wouldn't be so brazen to deny the loan to the father or deny it to the son either. To either one, he wouldn't be so brazen to deny the whole thing. So therefore, it's not just doing a favor by being meiz panim. Meiz panim means he would not take a false. He wouldn't. We don't make him take a shua. Meiz panim. He's not. He's not meiz panim. He's not so brazen in this case. If he would be so brazen and deny the whole thing, then it's like a meiz shaveda. In theory, if this person who owes the money would be so brazen as to deny the whole loan to the son, so then the fact that he comes forward, that's sort of like doing a favor. It's almost like lost money that he's coming and giving. Yes. No, the thing is like this. When a person, let me just say the whole thing again. When a person owes money, and if he is technically so brazen, according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, he would not be so brazen to deny the thing to the even to the son. Would not be so brazen. So therefore he would. Therefore, it's not like a meiz shaveda. It's not like just something found, because if he would be so brazen, the other way is clear. If he would be so brazen as to deny the whole thing, and deny and say, yeah, I don't owe you anything, but he's coming forth and being a good guy and saying it, and therefore it's like a meiz shaveda, because he didn't have to do that. So therefore, we would not make him take an oath.
He came on his own volition.
Yes, he comes on his own.
There's a built-in ego.
Well, hold on a second. Let's say the whole thing out. So let's say the whole thing first. So therefore, he would not have to. But if he wouldn't be so brazen. He wouldn't lie. So then it's not like he's returning a lost item, because you can't just say, I'm doing you a favor, because he wouldn't be so brazen. He would want to swear anyway. He would want to return it anyway. So therefore, he's not like he's not taking a lot, not like returning a lost item. So therefore, according to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, we do make the fellow swear. We would make the fellow swear because it's not in the class of Mesha Avela, because he wouldn't be so brazen and he wouldn't deny the whole thing. So therefore, we make him take an oath. According to the Rabbanan, let's read the whole thing, then we can go back and discuss it. Let me read it again. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Savar, lo shana bo, v'lo shana b'bno. Doesn't make a difference, him or his son. Either of them, the person that owes money, ein meis, is not so brazen to deny the whole thing. Therefore, he would not deny the whole thing. Hilchach lav meshva veda. Therefore, it's not like he's doing us a favor and telling us about that he owes money. He wouldn't be so brazen. And therefore, he takes an oath. Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan hold the fun of who is. For the actual person he borrowed the money from, the father, he wouldn't be so brazen to deny the whole thing. But to his son, who is now the inheritor of the loan, he would be so brazen, and they've denied the whole thing. And with the low maze, the fact that he wasn't so brazen, he was nice enough to come forward. It's like he was returning a lost item because it's lost money, but now he came back and was honest enough to say it. Therefore, we don't make him take an oath. When something is like found money, we don't make. When it has the classification of the Veda, we don't make him. Okay.
You're talking two different things because if he owes him 100 and he's giving him 50, which is part of a whole thing.
Right.
Whereas lost property, if he lost let's say a tefillin bag, for example, right?
Okay.
And it's returned to him, it's a whole thing.
Right.
This is one's half a thing and one's a whole thing. Property and money are
right.
two different things.
True. Correct. It'd be difficult. It wouldn't have a case of half and half by an item, the taltalin. Yeah, that's true. Unless there's two. If there's two filled bags.
The say he doesn't have to swear.
Well, yeah, the Rabbanan don't say he doesn't have to swear because he's being such a nice guy and coming forth. He could just deny the whole thing. There's no reason why he wouldn't deny the whole thing. The fact that he's not denying coming forth puts him in the classification of like found money, like a lost item that he's now returning. In that classification, we don't make a person swear. That's going to keep finders of lost money away. Okay.
More than the mix-ups is that he's more than the mix-ups, meaning that we know that there's a claim of a sum of 100, and he admits to 50. Here, there is no more than the mix-ups. More. We don't know what the sum is. He's coming and he's telling us that.
No, I think the son does know, but he can't make him swear. The son can't make him swear. He can't swear. There isn't knowledge, I think, but it's Mesha Aveda because the son can't make him swear. He can't make him swear and get the money back.
According to the rabbis.
According to the rabbis. And
yeah.
Elazar says you do have to swear. So I like the standard.
Comes from a different source, a different limit. Not because why is it that he has to swear?
Because why does he have to swear? Because the bottom line is that
No, but
in general, you don't. In general, a katan does not make someone. A katan's claim is not swearable. You don't swear to a katan. That's based on the limud from the pasuk kitim. No other way around. Don't swear to or for or to or from whatever. Doesn't make or doesn't take whatever. Yeah, both directions. Yeah. Okay. So the way we're learning the Mishnah now, the case in the Mishnah is that a katan makes someone swear. It's a case where, like it's going like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. It's a case where the person comes on his own volition. You may know, but he's the one initiating the admittance. He says, your father owed me, I owed your father money, and I paid him back 50. I owed him 100, 100 zuz, and now I paid him back 50, whatever the denomination was, and I'm going to take an oath. He's coming forth and like initiating that I owe, and I paid half. He's doing all the talking. And Rabbi Elazar Yaakov says in that case, he wouldn't be so brazen to deny whether he legally has to take an oath or not. But since he legally wouldn't deny the whole thing, so he would take an oath in that case. That's the case where a katan whether he's doing the talking or not. The person comes forth and says he owed. Yes, I'm owed money. That's correct. Yes, I owe money, but I paid back 50, and so in that how they're having.
How can you come to say he was not raising the oath? He came forward. Well, he's saying he's not. He can't even come on to the fact that he.
You can deny the whole thing. You can deny the whole thing if you want, and then not say anything. There was 50. There's no witnesses. You can just say denies the whole thing. But he's not brazen enough because he wouldn't be brazen enough. Yeah. The only reason there's an oath here that makes him pay back money is because he's motive mixas, right? If he would deny the whole thing, there's no witnesses, no shtar, no nothing, no shtar in this case. So then he would just walk away, right? So the fact that he come forth and admitted it was 50, that generates an oath. If the way he came forth and did it and admitted and said I own 50, he's generating the whole process, not the katan generating the oath. He is generating the oath himself. That's the case where a katan could generate an oath. No, not that he's generating the oath. Yeah. Okay. Let me drink here. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Rashi. Okay, so then where's ask a question? So fine, if the case is the person wouldn't be so brazen, so he would never deny. So we make him take an oath. But that and Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is the town of the Mishnah. That seems to be contradictory to what another part of the Mishnah says. Okay, so mi matis muknis, about halfway down the narrow lines. The first word on the line is maize. To cut straight across to the other side of the line, it says mi matis muknis lak Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, who established the Mishnah. We established the Mishnah like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Hakatani Reisha, we learned earlier in the Mishnah, earlier part of the Mishnah, Mana la'aba biyadcha. Some claims that you're owed to my father. It's not necessarily not katan. Okay. Mana la'aba biyadcha. You owe my father 100. Let's say it's an adult. You owe my father 100. Ein la biyadi ela chamishim. He says, no, I only own 50 chamishim dinar. Pater v'neshim meishel avedahu. However, there it says because it's like a meishel aveda, because he could have denied the whole thing. The fact that he's coming forth is denied the whole thing. So if it's a case where, if we're saying the case is that that Elazar ben Yaakov says that it's not like a meishel aveda because he could deny the whole thing, so why is it not the case? So why is it? So how come Elazar ben Yaakov says before it's not like meishel aveda because he wouldn't be so brazen. Here he says he would be brazen to the son. The son saying, you owed my father 100 check, 100 mana, zuz, whatever it was. Same thing. Minus 100 zuz. He says, you owe my father. And he says, no, I owe him half. I'm owed half. So the principle is, previously we said that this debtor would not be so brazen to deny the whole thing. Therefore, we make him, we would deny, so therefore we make him take a shvuah. Here he says, we say that we don't make a shvuah because here we say we do take. Here we say we don't make him take a shvuah. Sorry, because he would be so brazen to deny the son to deny. So before we said the son, according to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, the son would not be so brazen to deny. Therefore, he takes an oath. Here we say he would be so brazen to deny the whole thing that of his father's oath. The fact that he's admitting, so therefore we don't make him swear. It's just like Meishel Aveda. So what is it? The son is brazen, or is the son not brazen enough to deny the oath? Before we said the son is not brazen enough, now we're saying he is brazen enough to deny the whole thing. Which one is it? That's the question. So anyway, we make a distinction between the two cases. Hasam la'amar barili, hachad amar barili. Two different cases. If the case before our case, let's do the second one first. Our case, where he said, if Elazar ben Yaakov says he wouldn't be so bold to deny, that's when the case is where it's barili, when it presents as barili. I know for sure that the money's owed. Here, the son's claiming, he says he says, he's not in Bar, he's not absolutely certain. He says, I believe your father owed me money. He's pretty certain. So in that case, we would say a person would be brazen to deny a claim like that. If one has a certain claim on the behalf of the son on behalf of his father, we wouldn't deny it. But it's a uncertain, when it's uncertain claim, then he would be brazen. When there's a certain claim, then he would be. When there's a certain claim, or certain is owed, he would not be so brazen. When there's uncertain claim, he would be brazen. That's why the distinction between the two cases. So there's a lot of caveats to make this work. We have to say the cases like Elazar ben Yaakov, and he's saying, for sure, I owe you the money. There's a guy coming forth on his own, and that's why the Mishnah says you have a case where the son could make someone swear for own money. It has to be a case is owed for the father, and the person's coming on his own volition, admitting partially, and saying for sure that he's owed the money. So there's a lot of caveats to make that work. That's how we make it work. And this was all in Rav. This is all Rav who said that so far. Shmuel is going to come along with a whole different approach. What does it mean? To the whole thing, without all the caveats. Something, I wouldn't say simple, but straightforward. But it certainly seems a little bit without all the add-ons.
How would the sages answer the question of orphan says to the man, you owe me money. You owe me money. From you owe my father money, and I'm the heir. How would the sages and the Rabbonim answer, Rabbi Elias answer to that? By saying, I'm not certain of this, and he didn't say that, and he did not say, I'm certain. I said, I am certain.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
There's two different words. The word not comes into fruition there. If you turn around and said, I know you owe my father money.
Right.
So there's a distinction between Rabbonim and Rabbi Eliezer.
Right. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, a person would be brazen in either case, no matter what. According to Elazar ben Yaakov, only if he's certain, like he says it with a certainty, then he would not be brazen. If he isn't certain, then he would be brazen. Deny. Right.
When we say I know you owe my,
I know you owe my father. I know.
What does that mean? That just anybody can come up to anybody and say, I know that you owe my father money, or you owe him money.
If there's no witnesses and there's no power, anyone can deny it too.
It's not a matter of being brazen. Not a question. It's like trying to say that your phone, that's my phone. That's you get my jacket. There's a chazaka. Then it belongs to you.
Well, it's my size, so it's mine. And a chazaka, it's my size. I'm wearing it. It's also chazaka.
So I don't think that's our case. Yeah. I think that any person can come and say I'm certain. Because he can deny it without it's absolutely crazy.
11.
So anybody else can deny it.
Okay. Well.
In that situation where some
You mean that not word, sir?
Okay.
situation where some is a father and okay. Secure my father money. You know, and the person who's got something.
So in that case, he wouldn't be brazen.
No. I'm giving you an alternative.
But he,
Okay, so let's go back to Shmuel. Shmuel's going to have another different way, not different than Rav. So how do we say, what's the case? We say, Val nishban lekatan. You swear to a katan. What does that mean? You swear the katan and you swear to him. What does that mean exactly? Well, the hektish said, and the hektish too. What is that case? So Shmuel is going to give. So it's 11th, the last narrow line. Last word on the line is Shmuel. Shmuel is going to give a different approach. Shmuel Amar lekatan lipara b'nichse katan. Hektish lipara b'nichse hektish. If you want to collect and get paid up from the possessions of a minor who is inheriting from his father, you have to swear. That's what it means. A person's coming to collect money that's owed by the father from the possession. We'll explain this a little bit more. From the possessions of the father, this person has to swear to the katan that he's owed. the hektish, that it's really a debt between the man and the father. Well, the hektish, like let's say a person donated his property to the Beis Hamikdash, but um, before he donated it, the person has a loan, and the person wants the property back from the loan because he's owed money, didn't pay him back, so he wants to collect the property that was donated to hektish. Before he collects from hektish, from the Beis Hamikdash, for example, he would have to take an oath. So we're gonna, as we go through, it'll be a little bit more clear what it means. Vipara minichse katan, to collect from the possessions katan that he's owed. Let's say the father had a debt, and he's collecting from the son, from the property that the son inherited. That he has to swear before he does that. Tanina, it's a Mishnah. You learn that in the Mishnah later on. If you what? Then hey, Amanal says, Tanina, nichse yisomim lo yipara el b'shua. From the possessions that a orphan, we don't collect only with a shua. In order to take it, you have a claim, you have some sort of proof too. You have to take a shua before you do so. Okay. So the question is tarti lamali. So if we really learn this concept in the Mishnah, why are we saying it again in our Mishnah? Why is it saying it twice? That before you collect from some that a orphan is holding on to, that he inherited from his father, and the father has a debt to you. Before you collect it, you have to take a shua that's owed to you. Take an oath. So it says it twice. It says it on Daf Memhei on Aleph. And our Mishnah, according to Shmuel, is also saying it. Why are we saying it twice? Why do we need to say it twice? Tartid lamali. Hakamash malan kabaya kashisha. It's going to teach you like Abaya kashisha, like Abaya kashisha, the elder Abaya said. The Tani Abaya kashisha, he learned. The following, Yisomim sha'amru, the Yisomim that we're talking about, he says, Gedolim, are even orphans who are adults, not minors. Bein tzarach lamer ktanim, and you don't need to say, of course it's talking about minors. Bein l'shvua, bein l'siburis. That for both of them, whether it's a orphan who's a minor or an adult, you have to swear before you collect a debt you have from the property that was inherited, and also what you collect, the type of property you collect to collect from your debt. If the father owed you 1,000 zuz and you want to collect property, collect beziburis, which is the lowest quality, lowest of the three qualities of land. As Rashi says, bein beziburis, it's non behani zaken, learn in Parak Zaken and Gittin. Ein nefram min hayisomin, so min, don't collect from orphans, ella min haziburis, only from not the meitav, not the best, not the beinus, not the middle type, but ziburis, the worst type. Salacha. V'hainu nitanu tarti. That's why they learn twice, two mishnahs. Chad l'gedolim and chad l'ketanim. One mishnah is coming to teach you that you have to swear before you collect from an adult, and one says you have to collect even from a katan. Swear from a katan. Maybe you can ask a question. If you know one, you would know the second, but that's what Rashi tells us. Okay. Continuing. Lipara minichse hektish. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth to last narrow line. Lipara minichse hektish. Collect. If you have a debt, someone owes you money. But Mr. Reuven owes you money. You have a loan. You lent Reuven money, and then Reuven donates all his property to the Beis Hamikdash. You have a pre-existing debt from him, but now you have to swear to hektish, whatever that is. You have to swear, like it's the gizbar, to the treasurer. I guess that's who you do. I don't know exactly to. You have to swear before you collect from that. The Gemara asked, Tanina, we learned this in a Mishnah as well, in Shavuos. Nechasim mishubadim lo yifru ela b'shvua. It says that before you collect, this is by a regular person, not by hektish. Before you collect, if somebody sold their property, but you have a loan that predates that, before you collect that property that you have that has a lien on your loan that predates the loan, your loan predates the selling of the property, you don't collect el b'shvua. You have to take an oath. Umali mishubadim lehedyot, mali mishubadim legrova. And so with the same thing, the same idea. You lent him money, and then he sells his money to somebody, or sells his property to somebody, or gives away his property to hektish, and you want to collect it to collect your loan. The money is owed to you. And before you do that, whether it's the hedyot to a regular person, or whether it's to gavoa, whether it's to the Beis Hamikdash, so to speak, you have to take an oath. So why do we have two? Why do we learn it two times? Once in Shavuos and once here. Itzrich, the Gemara says, we need both. I might think Hedyot hu the Adam Osa Kanunya. I mean Hedyot who the Adam Osa Kanunya Hedyot. By Hedyot, a person will make a trick, will make a sort of a scheme. That's the right word with the other guy. He says, I lent you the money, and we'll pretend you don't have it, and we'll go get it back. That you sold it, and they're going to get it back. They put some little shtick in the. They'll put some shtick in the in the in it's it's preemptive. No, sorry, it's premeditated. Premeditated. It's crooked. Yeah, it's aval hektish. But when it comes to hektish, eight adam also kanunya hektish. A person would think that someone would not start playing games with hektish, donate all his money and have in cahoots with the lender. And, a person wouldn't do that, right? You might think that Kamash Malan, no, that people even do that. And therefore, the Mishnah has to tell us you have to swear before you start getting the money back to assure that you really owe it, to prove to us that you really owe it. So we see that a person, anyway, the principle is that someone would make such this deception with his lender and the borrower, even for hektish, even for property that was donated to the Beis Hamikdash. But we'll ask the question: wait, is that true? Someone would do such a thing, even for hektish? Rav Huna says, someone who is on their deathbed to die, shehiktish kol nechasav. He's makdish. He donates all his property to the Beis Hamikdash. Vamer mana leploni biyadi. I said, I'm still holding on to. I owe one amana, and it's zulus to ploni. Neman, he's believed. Why? Chazaka ain't adam osa kanunya al hektish. No, because a person would not start playing games with this trickery against hektish, to hektish, the Beis Hamikdash detriment. So that seems what we do. We see we're not worried about such a thing. Before we said we are worried about. That's why I have two Mishnayos. One to tell you that someone would do this trickery, has to swear because we're afraid he might do the trickery when getting back his loan, whether it's hektish or whether it's regular thing. But here it says a person wouldn't do wouldn't put such sort of schemes against hektish. So Amri, they say, Hani Mili, when do we say person wouldn't do such schemes or kununya against hektish? Someone's about to die. Person wouldn't sin and he's not getting out of it, not getting any benefit from it. Mishvil Yorshim, half the Yorshim, Rashi says. Aval Gabebari Vadei Chashin. When someone's alive and has some benefit he can get out of it, we are concerned that they're putting some, they're doing some sort of geneva and they're plotting together. We are concerned even when it comes to hektish, and therefore we are concerned. And before you collect property that was inherited, it's given to hektish or sold to somebody else, and you have a pre-existing loan, we make you swear. We are concerned about a kununya, a deception, a joint deception from the borrower and the lender to get something out of this, either whether it's hektish or by regular people as well. So says the Gemara. That's okay. All right. That's Shmuel's approach. That what it means is when you swear to cut. That means before you collect pre-existing debt from a child who's inherited. Before you get that, you have to take an oath to the Beis Din that you are honest and not pulling any stick. Okay. Oh, says in there. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the Mishnah, which is a new topic. Well, not a new topic. Back to the topic, maybe say. We have to move along here. Okay, so let's do the Mishnah. The Mishnah is going to say the following. Okay. The Sarah says, like the Elikatan of these are things you don't take a shua on. It talks about the shuas, the araisa. You don't take the shua for modu mixas, partial admittance, one witness, paid echad, or shomer. The shomer who has to take, like a shomer chinam, has to take an oath that he didn't steal it or he was negligent and he guarded it properly. But shua the these would apply to these cases. These are the things that the shuas, modu mixas, partial admittance, etc., one witness don't apply to. Avodim, daros, karkos, vekdeshos. With regard to a claim of slaves, contracts, property, and the hektish, and so things that go into the Beis Hamikdash. And we'll discuss each of them. We learned before that Karkos, if you have a partial admittance or one witness, you don't swear to. We'll see the limud soon, why that is. Okay. The ain bam tashlumei kefel, and by these things, by avodim, servants, staros, contracts, land, and hektish, you don't pay kefel. In other words, example, let's say a person steals a person's contracts, and then he's caught. Normally, if you steal something, you're caught, you have to pay a double payment. But here, you don't pay kefil. You don't pay the double payment by these. The Gemara will explain why also. Below tashlumei arba chamisha. And if you take it, for example, you steal something from hektish, like a sheep or something, and then you slaughter it or sell it, normally you would have to pay four or five times, 4 for sheep family, 5 for a cow family, but not if it's what you steal is hektish or staros or harkos. Those don't have 4 or 5, but whatever. Shomer chinam, so too, shomer chinam ein nishba. A shomer chinam, person who's someone who's guarding someone's property for free without pay. Normally, when something is stolen or lost, and he guarded it properly, he would swear and not pay. But here, if it's what he was guarding was, for example, staros or something like that, one of the 4 things, he would not have to take an oath. When no says sachar, a person who's shomer sachar was watching something, guarding something for pay, then normally, if it's lost or stolen, he would have to pay. But in these cases, there are exceptions. We'll discuss this in the Gemara. Why? Give the drasha why. Einu mishalem. He wouldn't have to pay. Rabbi Shimon qualifies. We said by hektish, all these things are excluded. You don't have to pay double, touch the mekepo, you don't pay 4 or 5. Rabbi Shimon qualifies which cases are which. Rabbi Shimon Omer, kachim shechayiv b'achriyusan, nishpon alahem. Chayiv b'achriyusan, as Rashi says, kigon Omar harei alai ola. That you say, the person takes on himself that he's going to bring an ola. Didn't specify which animal, he says the concept. I'm going to have to bring an ola, he says. So therefore, if he gets lost or stolen or something like that, he has to bring another one. So in those cases, that when he says hare a lie, so he takes it upon himself rather than a particular animal, then he is chay brusa nishpon, but he would have to swear in those cases. Like if he's v'she'enu chay b'achriyus, so if he says it says hare zeh ola, he points to one of his animals and said this animal is an ola, and then he's not. That's the case of hektish we're talking about. Ein nishpon ola, he doesn't have to swear on that. Okay. Meir Omer, Meir says, Yesh Dvarim Shehein Bikarka, something that's attached to the ground, Vein Karka, and doesn't have the status of ground, doesn't have ground like Karka, Vein Chacham Modinlo. The Chacham don't agree to him. What's that case? What's that talking about? Ketzad, what's the case? Eser Gefanim Tu'unos Masarti Lecha. 10, do Rashi, I'll tell us in a second. Eser Gefanim Tu'unos Masarti Lecha. I gave you 10 vines that were full of grapes. They go over to you, hold on to, etc., whatever it is. V'halo Amar Eno Ela Chamesh. It's only 5, so it's partial admittance, giving you back 5. Only. Meir Omer Mechayev Shua. Meir says he has to say a shua. It's not like karka. Meir says it may be attached to the ground, but it's not actual ground. We'll discuss this further in the Gemara in detail. The Chum said Kol Mechuber LeKarka Harei Karka. Anything that's attached to the ground, vines that are full of grapes are attached to the ground, it's like karka, and you wouldn't swear for partial admittance in that case. But we'll discuss that further in Gemara. Mishnah continues. This also will be discussed in the Gemara. A person doesn't take an oath only on things that are measurable. That are midah as a measure, mishkal a weight, a minyan a number, things that are measurable, that have a measure, have a measure. Right, for Ketzad, for example, Bayis Male Masarti Lecha. I gave you a house full of grain. Kis Male Masarti Lecha. I gave you a wallet, a money bag full of coins. Velomar Eni Odea Ela Mashanachna Atanotel. I don't know. It certainly wasn't full, but what he gave me, I'm giving you back. He's saying his partial admittance. I'm giving you back, not full like you said, but potter. He's off the hook. He doesn't have to take an oath. Why? Because he didn't. They're not. He didn't. There's no claim in partial admittance of a specific measurable amount. It's a sort of a not precise amount. But however, this whole thing will be discussed in the Gemara. Zamar ad haziz. This person says al haziz, which Rashi on the next dot says korah shel aliyah aboletes mitoch habayis. It's like a beam that sticks out from the house. I think it's a support beam They build on the second floor from it, or support the top floor, but it's a support beam that sticks out. It's something specific. It says, I lent you a house full of grain up to this support beam. There's a no, up to the window. So it's not numbers per se, but it's precise enough, and that's considered precise enough to consider a claim and a partial claim of denial to make one swear. Okay. Okay. So lot to say there, and the Gemara is going to go through this one at a time, because it's not as much as you suspect, but it goes through it. So let's just a couple points. We said that Tosus is gonna. We said ein bo tashlume kefil. A person doesn't have to pay kefil. Let's say a person steals various things. Shtaros. A person steals a shtar, right? Steal a document. That's stealable. And see what that happens. Hektish, grab someone's land and run. His eved, pick up his eved and run, right? Those are all stealable. Karka, there's a whole discussion if karka isn't exelis, or not. But how do you steal land that would generate a stume kefil? How do you do it? Whether it becomes in your property or not, as a machlokas, whether you're responsible for it is one thing. But how do you physically steal it so you be chayiv and kefil, chayiv in double payment? Okay, that's good. I like that. The Tosh doesn't say that, but that might be good. I like that. Yeah.
If I get hold of these property.
Grab his deed and run. Right? Okay, that's Tosh doesn't say that one either. These are all good ideas. The first answer Tosh gives, we'll discuss the second one a little bit. We have to get to the case. The first one he says is masi gvul, when a person just moves the fence over. I know that in some they just kind of less. The guy goes away for a week, and suddenly, without knowing it, the fence is 2 meters to the right. Suddenly his neighbor's his artichokes are suddenly in the other guy's property. How did that happen all of a sudden? Yeah. That's how you steal property. That's one way, stealing property. I don't mean to be cynical, but I've noticed when they build building projects today here, the first thing they build is the parks. They put down the parks. Maybe it's funding reasons, I don't know, but they put down the parks. They stake their claim, and then the builder builds what he builds. They don't want the builders to do a little bit of sagas gvul. Yeah, the shetach, the piece of property they bought is still here, but it'd be nice if we send a little bit more. So they put down the park right there. With everything, with the climbing equipment, the covers on and everything. So there's such a concept, as Tosus points out, as a Hasaga school of bumping into somebody else's property. It's been done once or twice. Yeah. Okay. So we said like this. Send the case in the Mishnah. Some of the people who don't swear as a shomer chinam. Some as a shomer chinam. Shomer chinam is somebody who's watching something for free. And because he's doing it for free, so he has the least responsibility, in the sense that if it gets stolen or lost, and he watched it in all good faith, like he should have, to the extent that he should have, he just takes an oath, and then he's off the hook. He doesn't have to pay. So what about pshia? What about negligence? So what about that? Says the Rambam. Rambam asks, he says. Rambam asks, what about if it's pshia? In order to if negligent, someone in the shomer chinam who's watching for free is negligent, he would have to pay. What about here? Does he get off the hook from swearing or paying? It's the same category. Would he have to pay? Get off the hook paying because it's about karka, because it's about land, or it's about shtar contract, or so he says no. The Rambam says if he's negligent, shomer chinam would have to pay. Just a little caveat. Okay, so let's continue with the Gemara. The last part of the Gemara. So the Gemara after the Mishnah. Tashlume kefil minalan. How do we know that these 4 cases, when it's regarding avadim, shtaros, karkaros, akdeshos, slaves, non-Jews, contracts, land, and something donated to the Mikdash, then in that case, if it's stolen, the person doesn't pay kefil, doesn't pay the double payment. How do we know that? The Tana Rabbanim, we learned that in the Brisa. I'll call davar pesha. That's by the pasuk regarding kefil, by double payment. I'll call davar pesha. On any negligence, on every iniquity, that's right, one word. On every iniquity, everything he did sin, that's klal, that's a general. It sounds like he has to pay kefil, the double payment for stealing anything. Then the pasuk continues, al shor v'al chalmor v'al sel v'al salma. And then it specifies, his ox, donkey, etc. All it says very specific things. Prat, it specifies. And then it continues the pasuk, achol alveda. And then it says, the pasuk continues, on every lost item. So chazar uklal. Then it goes back and it specifies once again. I'm sorry, it gives a general thing. So klal prat klal. Tadan el prat. When you have a general principle, that general rule seems to be all inclusive, then the pasuk limits it to a specific items, and then it goes again and gives another klal, more general, all inclusive, limiting, all inclusive. It means what the pasuk is telling you. This is according to Rabbi Shmuel, says klal prat klal, as opposed to I think it's Rabbi Akiva who says. Rabbi Akiva who disagrees, who says doesn't say klal prat klal, who says will come back to me in a minute. He says when you have a general rule, specific and general, you go general. You say ribo miyat ribo. That's it. That's what Akiva holds. But we're talking about Rabbi Shmuel, who says klal prat klal. And so when you have a general thing listed in the pasuk, which is all inclusive and limiting to what it includes, and then it has more general, all inclusive, we only include what's like the prat, what's like the limitation. That's what the Gemara says. Iyatadan elakina prat. Ma prat, just like the cases gave, the furish davar metatal the gufa mahman. It specifies that something that's movable and in and of itself has value. Af kol davar metaltal, so to anything that is movable, the gufa mahman, it inherently has value. Those are the type of things you pay kefil on if you steal. So what are the exceptions from that? Yatsu karkos. So excluded from that rule is karkos, shein metaltal, land which is not movable. Yatsu avodim, and it excludes servants, non-Jewish servants. Shehukshu la karkos, which is generally, for the most part, is makish, is compared to the land. Yatsu shtaros, and it excludes a contract. Shein metaltal, even though they're clearly movable, ain gufan mamon. They're not actually mamon. As Rashi said elsewhere in the Masechta, they just represent money. They don't actually have value. So those are all exceptions. Hektish, how is hektish excluded from kefil? Re'eyu, see, the pasuk says re'eyu. You just have to pay your friend, your fellow. Thank you. That's the perfect word. Thank you. Your fellow. Very good. And hektish is not your fellow. It's Shemayim. It's Hashem. It's the Beis Hamikdash. So that's why we exclude all of these from kefil. The four exceptions were avodim, servants, shtaros, contrasts, karkos, land, and hekteshos, and things that are sanctified to the Beis Hamikdash. They're all accepted. From stealing to pay kefil, you don't have to pay double payment. Okay, so then we continue. I'll skip the parentheses. Second to last line. V'lo tashlumei arba chamisha, and you don't pay the 4 or 5 payment if you steal, for example, someone's sheep, hektesh's sheep. You would not pay, and then you sell it or slaughter it. You wouldn't pay 4 or 5 times like you normally do. My time, or why not? The Torah says you pay 4 and 5 and not 3 and 4. What does that mean? Rashi says, last Rashi, the kiv and the kefil leka havlu shlosh v'arba. That since there's no kefil, there's no double payment. There's not 4 and 5. It's 3 and 4. Rashi is telling us that the way we conceptualize tashlumei arba chamisha, paying 4 and 5 times, is not you stole it and sold it or slaughtered it, is not a separate law that you pay 4 and 5. It means you pay the double plus the additional 3 and 4. That's what it means, 4 and 5. 4 and 5 is really the kefil, the double payment, plus another 3 or 4. Therefore, if you're not paying the double payment, you don't pay the additional 3 or 4 times. But the two go along with each other. Let's just move into the next thing. It's also pretty straightforward. Same idea. Shomer chinam eina nishba. A shomer, someone who's guarding something for someone else and is not getting paid, and he was negligent. He was not, that's the wrong word. Something was stolen or lost while in his possession, while he's washing it in all good faith. He did his job that he's supposed to. How do we know that he doesn't swear? You normally do have to swear, but in these 4 cases, it involves servants, contracts, land, or hektish. He would not swear. How do we know that? Minani mili. How do we know that? The Tan Rabbanan. And then the Brisa, flip the page to Mem Gimel, not Lam Gimel. Mem Gimel Amid Aleph, 43a. Yitin ish eyu. Klal. It says when a person gives his friend klal, it's a general rule. Kesvo Kalim Prat says coins, money, or vessels that is specific, limited. Lishmor, to guard, it goes about again, chazav klal, goes ahead again and gives it in a general way. So klal or prat klal, we have general, specific. In general, yata den elakena prat. You only judge it like the specific thing. Ma prat mefurish davar metaltal moment, just like the specific one is movable items and is actually in and of itself worth something. Avkan kol davar metaltal moment. It's something that is value and has and is worth money. So we'll go over this again tomorrow because it goes to several lines. Thank you for coming and have a wonderful day. And it's